nothing could have prepared me for the journey of being a classical musician, especially a composer, especially a Black composer. This conversation all came about a couple weeks ago because I was invited to a rehearsal for the Charlotte Symphony. They were playing my orchestra piece, Chrysalis Extended, and I've been really blessed, I have to say, over the last year to have had multiple professional orchestras play my piece. As well as a university has played my piece as well. New World Symphony played my music for a concert, and also, who else has played my music? Charlotte Symphony, Dallas Symphony premiered it, and I feel like I'm forgetting something. Okay, let me write these down real quick. So let's see, Charlotte Symphony has played my music, New World Symphony has played my music, Indiana University played my music, and Festival Napa Valley has played my music, to name a few. I think I'm forgetting a couple. So, it was played internationally, Canada. The Saskatoon Symphony in Canada did my piece, so I'm international now. But yeah, it's just been such a blessing to see how, my music has just kind of been getting more known in the industry of classical music. It's something that, nothing could have prepared me for the journey of being a classical musician, especially a composer, especially a Black composer. Because here's the thing, composers, there really is no set path for us in this industry. It's kind of similar to being like an artist in a mainstream level. There's no set path. You just kind of have to put yourself out there, and that's it. I mean, you can go to school for it, and that's one path, but when you get your degree, you don't magically become an internationally known composer. It doesn't work like that. And it's the same thing with being a mainstream artist. You have to grind. And so that's what I've been trying to do these last few years. I graduated in 2017 with my master's. I've seen people asking about if I went to school or not. Yes, I did go to school. So East Carolina University was where I got my bachelor's degree in music composition, and then I received my master's in music composition from the University of North Carolina School of the Arts. And to be clear, my bachelor's degree was in music composition and theory. That's the degree. So I did have to take a lot of theory classes. Yeah, like I said, nothing could have prepared me for the life of a music composer and what this kind of entails, and just all the hoops that you jump through. It's a lot, but I love it. I really do. And I love music. I love the joy that it can bring people. Like, I really do. One of the first composers that I ever came to love was George Gershwin. So George Gershwin was writing music in the 1900s, the early 1900s, and his opera that a lot of people may know, you may know this opera, was Porgy and Bess. And one of my favorite songs from that opera is Bess, You Are My Woman Now. And the operatic version is gorgeous, but then there's also a Broadway version, and you can listen to Audra McDonald sing this with Norm Lewis, and she won a Tony for this performance. But that song, I have to listen to it at least once a year, and I feel like I normally listen to it around this time of year, around the fall time, and it just warms me. It just warms my heart. Like, it's such a beautiful song, and it's like that type of love that is referenced in that song is like, that's the type of love that I want. Like one of the lyrics is morning time, evening time, summertime, winter time, and Summertime is a song that's also in that opera. So like, just the way the words connect. I'm someone that really loves lyrics. I've actually written songs since I was 5 years old. So compositionally, I've been writing really my whole life, but just kind of in this more sophisticated way as I've gotten older and went to school for it. But I believe songwriters are basically composers. I mean, you're creating melodies. So yeah, Summertime is a beautiful song, but Best You Is My Woman Now, go look that up. It's a duet. It is gorgeous. So yeah, and it smells like fall in here right now. So I feel like I'm just getting all warm. Like this candle back here, it smells like fall. It's pumpkin, vanilla something. It smells so good. And yeah, that song brings me so much joy, and that's just an example of what music can do for me as an individual. So imagine what it does for so many other people out there, whether they're going through difficult times, happy times. It is just such a joy to hear music that can help you get through things or help you feel things that you didn't even know you felt in a positive way a lot of times. So that's why composing means a lot to me, and why, you know, I'm gonna always advocate for music and for composers of all, you know, all backgrounds. Being that I'm a Black woman, I naturally I'm drawn to speaking about the issues that I have faced and that I know other people face. And so this all started back to where we all started, right? So I'm in rehearsal, and they're playing some really cool music. So yeah, I got to rehearsal at 10 a.m., probably a little early because I want it to be like very early, you know, arrive very fresh and early. The first piece they did was by Samuel Coleridge Taylor, and the second piece they did was by Stravinsky. This was the rehearsal order, and then the third piece was my piece. So I was there about an hour before I really needed to be, which was cool because you don't always get these opportunities. Like, it's not every day that you get to just walk into an orchestra rehearsal as a composer. You know, either you don't have the time for it because you're busy writing something else, traveling, especially as a composer that I didn't like grow up playing in orchestra. I am a singer, so I grew up in choir practice, not orchestra practices. So anyways, I'm just like taking in all of this beautiful music. It's been a while since I was in an orchestra rehearsal. The Coleridge Taylor was the first piece, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't ever think I've heard a piece done by Coleridge Taylor. Like, I've listened to his music on Spotify, but I've never heard it live by an orchestra. So the reason why this was a big deal to me is because Samuel Coleridge Taylor, the composer's full name, he was a Black composer. So I was like, huh, okay, like we got 2 Black composers on the list, right? And I'm like, that's awesome, I'm in good company. And then they start playing a piece by Saint-Georges, who is another Black composer. He was mixed, but he was, you know, from France. That's where he kind of came to fame as a composer, but he was writing music in the 1700s. And so I was just so amazed to be on this concert and in this rehearsal, listening to my music be played, but also the music of some of these really, really fantastic composers who, you know, I just didn't learn about in school. And it started to make me kind of sad. I just started thinking to myself, like, this is amazing, right? Like, this is so cool. I'm so happy that these composers are being highlighted and that I'm being highlighted alongside them. But at the same time, I was like, why is it that I knew who Stravinsky was, period. Like, I always knew Stravinsky. He was really, really emphasized when I was in school getting my bachelor's degree in music composition. But why is it that I never heard of these other composers while I was studying? Like, why weren't they taught to me? Why didn't we get the chance to analyze their music and study them? That was the kind of stuff that I was doing on my own. And so it just made me a little sad to think about how that history was suppressed, and it just made me start to question why. And I ended up posting a TikTok about it, and so many of you were, you know, understanding where I was coming from. One comment says, I've played viola for 10 plus years now, and throughout all of my studies in classical music, I and my fellow classmates never studied Black composers. Sad face emoji. Another comment. I am today's years old with this information. So just for context, the TikTok that I posted, it was basically talking about what I'm talking about right now. Like, why didn't we learn about these composers? And so I got 800 comments almost talking about this. People just commented things like this and no, this is so valid. And yeah, there's so many. I'm trying to see some of the ones that really stood out to me. Here's one. I played violin for years. and I have never heard any of this before. Thank you. Here's another one. I did 3 to 4 years of a composition degree, or I think he meant 3/4 of a composition degree, and never learned about Black composers or female composers beyond Hildegard. Okay, here is one. This one says, I learned about St. George or Saint George at Berkeley. He was awesome. So there were some comments that were positive, talking about how they had learned about certain Black composers. But a lot of them didn't remember learning about him. Like this comment even says, I remember when I found out about Saint George. They didn't mention him in class. So it's just like crazy to read these comments, and it made me want to make a full video on this and just kind of talk a little bit about my experience, which is clearly I didn't learn about these composers while I was in school. And you know, I don't think it's any one person's fault, but I do think that it is all of our kind of responsibility to educate ourselves, educate each other. What we can do is continue to uplift ourselves and uplift those in our community. So that's why, you know, I wanted to make this video. That's why I have a playlist on Spotify called Black Composers, Black Excellence. That's what the playlist looks like. Yeah, go check it out, because I really do think we have a responsibility to, if anything, like I said, uplift ourselves and show that we exist. When I was an undergrad, I was one of 2 composers that were Black. The other guy was a male composer, and I looked up to him so much because he was brilliant, and I wanted to kind of be like him in a way. He was so creative, and I just really looked up to him, and I felt like, you know, if he can do it, and if he can be kind of looked at as special or important, because he definitely was one of the kids in the composition studio that I feel like stood out. Like he was just very brilliant and everything, and I don't know if he started composing at a very young age, but I definitely could tell that he like had really, he just had that something, I guess. And I didn't really feel like I got that same sort of like recognition. So to see him getting it was like very inspirational for me. And it made me feel like, you know, one day maybe I can be that for someone else. But yeah, I just really wanted to make this video and kind of get the conversation going. I'm not gonna make this a really long video because there is so much to unpack here, but I kind of want to get your opinions on this and kind of take this conversation to YouTube and hear what you guys have to say about it as well. I know that so many of you have kind of been following my journey since I put Chrysalis Extended out on TikTok over a year ago now, and I want to keep making regular videos because these conversations are really important to me. And it's not every day that I'm going to be at an orchestra rehearsal. It's not every day that I'm going to be having a premiere, because it takes me, you know, sometimes, you know, a month or so to get a piece written and performed, sometimes longer than that. But I do have some things coming up on that soon, so look out for it because I'm working on some new music. Yeah, I just want it to be able to have conversations here where I feel like it's a safe space and a space that like I am carving out, because I don't really see these conversations happening on YouTube. So I wanted to bring it here. I'm really appreciative of all my subscribers. Please share this video with anyone you think it would resonate with, and let me know what you think. I want to keep this conversation going. I'm only one individual, but I do, you know, feel like I have, you know, a responsibility with this platform that you guys have really helped me to get. And I want to use it to help other people, whether they're composers or artists from any kind of type of art, whether you're a visual artist, whatever. Like, I want to hear your stories because it sucks. It really does suck when you're sometimes the only one in the room, and it sucks to know that this history wasn't taught to me in a formal setting. And so I just really hope that this conversation can maybe change the way things happen in universities and in institutions as well. So thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.